Hey guys, I'm Dave and welcome to the Troll Gallery. Today, we're going to run some short stock and some thin stock through our planer, and the manufacturers might not be too thrilled about it. Planers have limitations on how short or how thin of a board you can run through it. Most benchtop planers give you about 12 inches as a minimum length, and larger planers are closer to 14 or 15 inches. Today, I'm going to show you a way that you can run shorter boards safely through your planer. Let's take a look.
We have this old cutting board that's seen better days. It's only 8 inches long, and that's way too short for my planer. The owner's manual says that you shouldn't plane anything shorter than 12 inches. To run this stock safely, we're going to build a sled. I started with a flat piece of 3/4 inch scrap plywood, and it's about 18 inches long. I glued a runner on one side that's taller than my cutting board is thick. Then I tacked it in place with a few 23 gauge pin nails. And I made sure to use pin nails that are long enough to hold the runner while the glue dries, but stay well shy of the top surface so they won't be hit during planing. I set the cutting board next to the runner and glued and pinned the second runner in place. These runners are about 14 inches long, and they're easily long enough to safely run through my planer. The last piece is a rear stop. Again, it's just glued and pinned in place. Once the glue had some time to dry, I popped the cutting board into the sled and marked the face with a pencil so I'd know when I had a smooth face. I made several light passes on the planer until the first face was flat. And it looked great. Well, except for those knots, but first things first. I flipped the cutting board over, and after a few more light passes, the other side was flat and parallel to the first. I chose to fill the knots with epoxy since those voids would be a great place for bacteria to breed, and, well, we don't want that. After a little cleanup and a few coats of oil, this board is back in working order. The board now sits flat on the counter, and I'm not sure I could have pulled that off just sanding it by hand. Another issue with planers is that it can be difficult to plane stock that's fairly thin. I like to use 1/8 inch strips of wood when edge banding plywood, but my planer doesn't like working stock down that low. To help with that, I use a secondary table. Again, I'm using 3/4 inch plywood, and I clamp that to the infeed side of my planer so it won't get pulled through. You can now run your thin stock through, but again I use light cuts. I often get snipe on the end of these strips, even if I add a little upward pressure to the strips on their way out of the planer. Knowing this can happen, I've milled my stock a few inches long so that I can trim that off before using it. Here you can see how bad the snipe can be. When I had a drum sander, I could sand stock much thinner than this, but with just a planer, I don't think I'd try anything less than 1/8 of an inch. Sometimes the stock will go in, but nothing comes out except chips.
This was just a short video to show you how I run short or thin stock through my planer. Now, it works for me, but if you're not comfortable with it, please don't try it. And if you noticed, I always stood to the side of the planer and not directly behind it or in front of it. That's just in case something decided to come out of the planer at a high rate of speed. I'm out of the way. It's never happened to me yet, but it is possible. I also have one more planer tip for you. Don't run your planer on a long extension cord, at least not over an extended period of time. The loss of amperage on that cord causes your motor to work harder, overheat, and could cause some serious damage over time. Don't ask me how I know this. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this video. Do you have different techniques for running short or thin stock through your planer? Drop them in the notes below. I'd love to hear. If you enjoyed this video, give us a thumbs up and maybe share it with your friends. And if you haven't already, maybe hit that subscribe button and the little bell so you get notified each time I put out a new video. Not sure what's coming up next. Might have something to do with the drill press again, but who knows? You'll have to wait and see. So for now, have a great day. Stay safe. We'll see you soon.